Cup Series. Race 3 in the championship, and as you'd expect for a city that numbers over 3 million people, it's grown over the last 10 years. It's a full house, 125,000 NASCAR fans waiting to try and make their voices heard above the biggest noise in motorsport. This is NASCAR. I'm Carlton Kirby, glad to have your company. Well, all lining up for a rolling. So on row 1, it looks like this with Johnny Benson and Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett's on the inside. Johnny Benson doing well on the outside. On row 2, it's Jerry Nadeau and Michael Waltrip. And something of an unfamiliar look to the lineup, it has to be said. Tony Stewart and Todd Bodine, take nothing away from them on row 3, but some of the bigger names are way on down at the moment. Bobby Labonte and Sterling Marlin making up row 4. On to 5, and it's Kurt Busch and Rusty Wallace. I can just tell you that Jeff Gordon is down on row 12, 24th. He will start. Jeff Burton, 28th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is way down the list. 32nd after qualifying, and not a happy boy at all. Well, just picking our way through. The cars still warming up, as you can see, zigzagging to keep those tyres as warm as possible as we get ready to go underway. The Busch Series race yesterday was tuna line all the way. It was hot, as we've said, and so you may well see some cars getting a little bit loose out of the corners as they expect those tyres to warm up pretty quickly. And the weather, as it has changed, could well mean that that is an ill thought out strategy. We will wait and see. Dale Earnhardt Jr., there he is on row 16 along with Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton in illustrious company. Kenny Wallace and Terry Labonte also down there. As you can see, the larger names not having it all their own way, at least at the start of this one. So handling perhaps the difficulty during the race. Set of changes expected will be the spring rubbers at the back and the rear sway bars. Those can be changed. The green flag, they're all in line and ready to race. We're underway in round 3 of the Winston Cup Series, and Johnny Benson gets a terrible start as Dale Jarrett in the Ford jumps him. Benson down into 3rd place with Jerry Nadeau and the Chevrolet up into 2nd. Tony Bodine 4th for now. Well, average speeds yesterday were around 187 miles per hour. They'll be taking it a little slower than that to begin with. Waiting for the cars to settle in, tyres to warm, and minds to get focus. Well, hustling for position, and always a difficult time. 3 deep on some of these corners. 4 turns on this horizontal D, and already a casualty, and it's Jeff Burton, number 99. Old Snake Eyes will not be happy with that. Just losing it coming out of the turn. We're under caution already, and that looks expensive, it has to be said. And fuel or oil coming out of the back there, which could make life difficult for those still on track. Thankfully, plenty of them. Well, life slowing down just for now. He's going straight past the pits and into the garage section. Well, they'll take a look, but it looks all over, it has to be said. Here we go. And you can see a little switch. Tried to correct, the back was gone. He's far too loose coming out of that turn, and off he went. Looks gentle, doesn't it? But as we've seen this year, gentle crashes can be serious ones indeed. Well, that back was coming round. It's lucky he didn't take anybody out with him. The air flap on top, the air brake flipping up. Great development there. It does keep the car. Jerry Nadeau, Johnny Benson, top everyone in single file, and we're racing again. We're on lap 6. And a real battle is for 3rd place. There's Johnny Benson. And Todd Bodine having a real scrap. Jarrett and Nadeau contesting the top. Well, getting that package absolutely right, it seems. Dale Jarrett, Jerry, those boys have done a superb job as well. And Todd Bodine racing beyond himself for now. Ricky Craven looks to have trouble, and it looks liquid. He is dirtying the track, and they'll want him off there as quickly as possible. Plenty of smoke, and he's been black flagged, has Craven. Forced to come in. Presumably he would have wanted to anyway. Well, the word from Jeff Burton is he still doesn't know. We're still waiting a decision on whether he'll continue this race. Coming into lap 8 then. And Rusty Wallace and Ron Honaday passing pleasantries. Three deep in places, spreading out to 2. And Brett Bodine has taken the wall, and more are following. There's oil all over the place. Ricky Craven's Chevrolet causing the upset. Ricky Craven still not in the pit lane, and all sorts of damage going on. Jerry Mayfield and Rusty Wallace paying the heaviest penalties. Well, oil, as we said, causing the trouble, it seemed. Maybe some contact because of that. And Ricky Craven finally below the white line and coming in. Jerry Mayfield, sparks all over the place, and that is not what people like to see, least of all drivers. Rubber and indeed alloys all over the place. The track is extremely dirty. And everyone taking evasive action, some going down low as well they might. And you can see the car just so loose, tyre pressure so difficult to call. And indeed, he drifted out wide and went for the wall. The oil, however, not helping. You can't blame it on the pit crew. Limping in then, and in comes Bill Elliott. Look at those tyre marks on the side of his vehicle. Plenty of clashes in the pack. We're running again. Caution car already out. The cars, some of them taking a break, and all of them have been Fords. The ones that didn't want a break, of course, unscheduled. 267 laps remaining of this 400-mile race out of a total of 267. And Dale Jarrett leads Todd Bodine for now. And drifting out wide, Ricky Rudd. Puncher at the back, as you can see. Rudd is going to lose himself what looks to be a full lap. At these speeds, by the time he gets in and gets that change, if he manages to limp in, he'll be back out and behind Todd Bodine, the new leader. And Rudd's just getting it himself in all sorts of bother, waiting for that pit lane to open up, and cars blocking him. Caution of the day, and you can see why. Steve Park, all sorts of difficulties, the latest victim, and indeed the way these cautions are coming. This is going to be one of the biggest stop-start races we've ever had here on NASCAR. Racing again. No chassis change for Tony Stewart. Took an unscheduled pit stop. And you can see the D shape of the circuit coming down to the start-finish line now. And just biding his time, 184 miles per hour, 86, and revving, approaching 9,000. Jarrett, you can see, just knows that he's got his man in his sights. Bodine's car just not handling into the corners, drifting out, and the space, when it presents itself, will be taken by Jarrett. At least that's his hope. The door, Bodine trying to shut it, but he just can't run low down at these speeds. He's not set up for it. Well, it's been a ding-dong. And there'll be other changes for many as well. Turn 4 seems to be the one that's causing people most difficulties. 184 miles an hour out of turn 1. And indeed the fastest speeds out of a corner. Doing. Dale Jarrett racing through. Johnny Benson. Well, the crew's working hard over the wall. And 18 seconds. A reasonably quick one. Not as quick as they can be. Dale Jarrett slower out. Johnny Benson, pleased indeed. Radioed ahead. Got that quarter pound out of it. And the safety car out once again. Nevedek getting into a tangle. Just look at this. These cars just glued together. Joe Nevedek in the 33. And John Andretti. The aerodynamics of the car at the top, just sucking the other vehicle on and pulling him round. Just look at this. At these speeds, aerodynamics, of course, come into play so often. And there's just nothing that Joe Nemec could have done to avoid that. Just getting that little bit too close, and the aerofoil acting like a magnet and just pulling him round. All over for those two gentlemen. Nemec Chevy and Andretti's. Well, Waltrip said he's got a little bit loose. Benson took only 2 tyres in his pit stop, getting a quick return. Marlin having led for 23 laps. And we're into the closing stages. A pit stop to come, and will it be 2 or 4 tyres? Nadeau holding his line. Gordon having to drift again. He's going to have another so long. Jason Leffler. He's away. Marlin. Neat footwork from the crew. He's taken 2 tanks of fuel and 4 tyres. Todd Bodine. Doesn't look as quick. 17.6. It's going to cost him. He'll rejoin further down the order. Screaming in to the pits comes Jeff Gordon. He'll want a really fast time here. His final stop. 8, 9, 10. 4 wheels he's taken and fuel. 15.5. Well, no cheers in the pit, over the pit wall. Throughout this race, the Stiffy can make any part of the bodywork, the better. Well, these two really, and just look how clean his car is. A measure of just what a tidy race he's actually had. And there, the gap between them, it's almost 1.5 seconds. And that is an age in NASCAR, and it's not going to be caught in 11 laps, 10 indeed now. There, the relative times you can see on your screen between cars 1 and 2 in this race. Gordon given 0-0, and Jarrett drifting even further over the 1.5 second mark. And let's have a look at their relative speeds. Gordon, well, coming into the corners and taking it much cleaner, it has to be said. Well, when you know just how far down the order Gordon started, this is impressive racing, to say the least. Just getting stronger and stronger, heading for his first win of the season. Last win was in Richmond in September, 12 races ago. And as ever, the prayers being offered up. 8 laps to go, the gap getting bigger, and the average speeds there, you can see 160 miles an hour, topping out at around 187. So Gordon heading for his $1 million, as is Rodney Miller, of course, the man who jumped into the East. Harvick in the 29 car, and Hornaday in 14, and they're the rookie running order. And racing still continuing. Tony Stewart imposing himself. Bill Elliott tracking him. That's a battle for 13th place, would you believe? But it's points on the board that matter. And Jeff Gordon knows all about that. 4 laps to go. And they're already preparing the celebrations. Well, the early leaders faded as Gordon started. Well, he had to pull something from deep out within the pack. He just bided his time in 5, would you believe? And he's the 8th in the all-time greatest list. Heading for his 53rd win. 8th place in the history of NASCAR, along with Rusty Wallace. 2 to go. Keep it nice and steady. Well, it's a more or less an early victory parade. Dale Jarrett knows it's all over. Still, an awful lot better set up than so many other vehicles. But it's Jeff Gordon who's had the magic today. Taking the white flag for the final lap. Jeff Gordon heading for his 53rd victory in NASCAR. His 260th Winston Cup race. It's been a great day, a good day indeed. And never want to hold back the credit where it's due. And there the man, the fan, who picked himself up $1 million as well. Gordon taking it then, never gave up right from the start, never does. Battle his way right the way through. Dale Jarrett just too light towards the end, finishing ahead of Sterling Marlin, who goes to the top of the standings now. Harvick in 8th place, Kurt Busch finishing 11th. The rookie's doing very well indeed. And if you're looking for the famous name Earnhardt, further down the order was black flags for running off with a catch can. out of one of the pit stops, had to stop start and finished way off the pace. Vegas then pays its tributes to the man. Jeff Gordon, he picked his way through beautifully. He drove an impeccable race on what was, as we've seen, a very difficult track here. Upsets early on there were. Far too difficult to get the handling right at the start because of temperature changes. Plenty got it wrong. There was damage into the wall. Trouble. Jeff Gordon